was 2020's episode on Scott Peterson, who may or may not have murdered his wife, Laci. And originally, when I suggested this one, I thought it was about a dude in a town very close to me, Drew Peterson, who potentially murdered his wife, Stacy. And I was like talking about it. And then I started watching this and I was like,
That's so
wait, are these?
weird.
Yeah, I was like, wait, are these not the same person? So I did know that they were two different people, but I did confuse them. So we were watching the 2020 Scott Peterson potential retrial, which to me is crazy because I definitely think he murdered his wife.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
Um, so I actually enjoyed watching this. I didn't expect to enjoy it. Like I didn't think hold on. I'm making a noise.
Sitting there just crinkling chips.
No, it was a package of baby wipes underneath my sink that I'm
Mm,
propping my legs up on. They were in the way. So initially I did it wasn't that I thought I would hate it, it was just that I was like, it's a
yeah,
toy
you don't like.
thing. It's probably gonna be boring. But I actually really liked it. Because it's like when that happened, it was, I mean, I was an adult, but I was barely an adult. So it's been a long time. So it helped like refresh my memory of the case and what all had happened. And like I didn't really pay attention to it back then. So I didn't really,
Yeah.
it was like a ton of new information to me. And yeah, it was, I don't know how I feel about it. Like,
So
I don't trust him by any
yeah.
means. But I don't think that he did it. Like
Okay.
I I went into it assuming that I would absolutely think that he did it, but even from the beginning I still was like, I just don't feel like he did that. Like
That's fair.
I do think he was a piece of shit. Like don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. Um and I'm not certain that the burglars weren't something he instigated.
Yeah.
But I don't
Yeah.
think that he personally murdered her. He may have put them up to it, but I don't think that he personally murdered her. Um,
So the backstory on this case is Laci Peterson went missing on Christmas Eve. Um, her husband Scott went out fishing that morning and they had plans to have dinner with her parents later that night. She went for a walk with their golden retriever, and that was like the last time anybody had seen her. Um, when he came home, he had come home from fishing. So like the first thing was like they were kind of saying they were like he immediately threw his clothes in the washing machine. At first I was like, that's suspicious, but I was like, no, he was out on a boat fishing all day. Like his clothes probably smelled
like
disgusting.
I'm
I would have
impressed that he
also.
did that.
Yeah.
Like if that was a
You just
normal thing
toss them on
for
the
him to
ground.
do, yeah.
But he said that when he got home, Laci wasn't there, but he didn't think it was weird. He assumed that like even though her car was there, she just went over to her parents' house. Later on that night, her parents were like, "She's not here," so that's when they all started kind of worrying. Um, but I didn't like his candor with the press. Like he was
Yeah.
very stoic and just very like she's just gone, and he had a mistress, which
Which
I
he was
also.
told before she went missing that, oh, well, my wife's gone. Like
Yeah.
before she was actually missing, which that's why I say I don't
Well,
necessarily think he's not connected to it. I just don't think he actually killed her.
with him telling her that like his wife was like gone or missing, like the wording that he used, it didn't make me think that he was like saying that she was missing. Honestly, it just sounds like exactly what every married man who's cheating on his wife tells somebody. Because they always say they're like, oh, we're separated because she doesn't talk to me, but like in reality, they're not separated. So it's one of those like tricky wordplay things where I don't think he was like saying he was like, oh, she's
Yeah, he
missing,
never said she
missing.
was missing. He
Yeah.
just said that she was gone. Isn't that what he
Yeah.
said?
Yeah. Like it was something that he said where it was like, she's not in the picture. I'm not in a relationship.
She's
And
gone.
he called his mistress from her vigil. Like he took a phone call from her vigil and was like, oh, I'm in Paris right now. The Eiffel Tower is
Yeah.
beautiful from her fucking vigil.
Like, bro, this is all over the news. You really think she ain't gonna know the truth at some point? Like, come on.
Yeah.
Just like a man. No, I'm not. I'm not a sexist. But I kind of am a little bit, but
Yeah,
I'm
a little
not.
bit.
It's from bad experiences.
Yeah. It was one of those things where you're just like, of course he is, of course he has a mistress. Of course he's lying to both of them. Like, um, but yeah, I didn't like that he did tell a lot of lies. Like that's where his story kind of falls
Yeah.
apart for me. Like if um he why lie that the power is out to the police who want to look at your boat? Like why be
There
like,
was one point that I was like, he's definitely guilty of
yeah,
something
he's guilty of something.
because they asked him like a pretty direct question. I can't remember what the question was, but it was related to her disappearance. And he was like, no, I didn't know. I don't know anywhere that she went. And so there's this thing, if people look to the left and look down, they're lying because they feel ashamed and guilty of what they're saying and they know that they're guilty, but they're kind of looking for the words to say. So as soon as he did that, I was like, oh, no, he's connected somehow. But
Yeah.
I still don't think he actually killed her, but I do think that he's connected to it.
Yeah, the part that I just wasn't sure about, because they said too, like with her walking her dog, that was possibly a different 8 month pregnant woman with a golden retriever out walking her dog in the same woods. And I was like, I mean, unlikely, but also possible, I guess. So then I was like, well, maybe she was dead and he did take her out with his boat and dispose of the body. But like, yeah, that I could see where you're just like, did he himself kill her?
I don't think so.
But he definitely is connected in some way, and he definitely knows more than he's saying. Um, something else that was crazy too was when they did like the trial, and they were like, the biggest obstacle that we have to overcome is he's charming and good
I
looking.
know. I was like, see, like he would never be a murderer. Look at him. He's so good
Handsome,
looking. And
handsome
like,
people
that
don't
makes
murder
me
their
think
others.
he's more guilty. Like that.
Yeah.
I would be like, I don't trust you as far
Yeah,
as,
you're like, you are too pretty, and there's
yeah.
something not right happening
Right.
there.
And he's not even that good looking. I didn't
No,
think. I'm like, he's not.
he did seem charming, but that also he also seemed like a good liar, and good liars are typically charming because they have to be.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was like watching this and I'm just like, you see the vigil and at the press conferences where like her parents are like distraught and like everything, and he's literally staring stone face like, I got shit to do. Can we wrap this up? And it's like,
Like,
your
we
wife
didn't
is
even go up
missing.
there and talk about it or nothing.
Yeah. See, and that's he didn't
Or
want
his
to.
lack of emotion to it tells
Yeah.
me that either he's connected to it or he was happy about it. One of the
Yeah.
two. But I don't know. Whenever he did that, I was like, oh, you're guilty. So like, I know how to read people's mannerisms and stuff. Um, and that's like a tip. Anytime, like you can ask anyone that's close to me in real life. You can't lie to me. Like I will always know. I may
Yeah.
not know what you're lying about, but I will know that you're lying to me. So he's like, nope. And like as soon as he looked down, I'm like, oh, guilt. You have guilt. You have shame and guilt. Like because people will look around when they're talking. In fact, they're more likely to be telling the truth if they're kind of looking around while they're talking because they're trying to find the right words and remember the stuff. But whenever they're lying, they'll tend to keep eye contact the entire
Oh
time.
yeah, because you have to like really, you're like focusing
You're
on, you're like, don't
focusing
be
on,
suspicious.
yeah.
Don't be
But if
suspicious.
it's like a spur of the moment lie and you're feeling guilt from it, you'll look down because you're not sure what to say, and then you're also feeling the guilt and shame, and so you tend to look down. And for some reason, it's to the left. I can't remember why, but that's what people do when they feel guilt and they're lying about
I've
something.
seen that too with other things. Like they say, like when you cry from like your, I don't remember the right or the left, but like one of them is happiness and one of them is sadness. Whatever the first tear that falls is from, like that's how you can tell like It is, but there are really like interesting psychological like tells for people, and I always love seeing
Like
stuff like that.
I'm really good with that, and it's like this creepy gift I have, like to be able to read people that way, and then I also get the vibes off people. Like you can ask my friends, they have me meet the person they're dating, I can tell them everything that's going to happen with them. Like I just know, and I don't know how I know, but I know. I can read the person and be like, no, this is a piece of shit. This is why. This is the kind of stuff he's going to do, and I'm always right. Or this is a wonderful guy, like my best friend Amanda's husband right now. Like the day I met him, I mean, we shook hands and I was like, I love you. And I just like hugged him. I was like, I love
You're
you.
like, you're like,
He's
don't
the
make this
one.
weird. I
Like,
love
he's the
you.
one. Yeah. I'm like, he's the one. This is the one. And now they're married and she's pregnant again. And like, he's the one. Like, I just know. But so I saw that and no, what I was gonna say though about my being able to read people and all, like when I did sales, I was excellent at sales because I
Yeah.
can read people and like just by their like the twinkle in their eye, I can tell if I've got them or if
Yeah.
I'm off. Like I can tell.
I used to be able to do that with like trying to figure out like if you should push for something else.
Yeah,
Like you have those certain people because we had to sell batteries and protection plans and credit cards, and you can tell the people that are just like won't do it, and you
yeah,
can tell the people that are like, I could get you if I try a little bit harder. So like your speech is totally different for those people because you're like it's a totally different scenario of yeah. So I
yeah.
totally get that.
But no, whenever he did the little telltale sign and it was like when he was being interviewed or whatever, and I was like, now
Yeah.
you are connected to that somehow. You may
Yeah.
not, like I said, I don't think that he was the one that murdered her, but I do think that he's connected to it in
He
some way.
kind of seemed to kind of bougie to do the actual murdering. Like I could see where like he wouldn't have been able to pull it off, but he would have been able to like dispose of the body.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
I don't think that, I think that would be hard for anyone that you've been in a romantic relationship with to be able to actually kill them.
yeah,
I think that would be hard, but being able to get rid of the body, I definitely think he could do.
yeah. Like he was
How
a fisher.
emotionless he was, I think that he could do that.
Yeah, and he made he fished. He would have known currents. He made his own anchor, so there's not going to be a paper trail of like you know
Buying an anchor and
buying an anchor.
yeah,
Um, and honestly, it was really just that like, why did you lie to like first of all, why did the police not like question it at all? Because he's like, well, days later I went back to the place and I asked about power outages and they said there were none. And it's like, well, why'd you just believe this guy at his word? Like you're investigating him for a murder.
yeah,
Like, why'd you just believe that he would be honest and upfront with you?
yeah.
And then what was it with the search warrant too? When they came with the search warrant, he's like, no, you absolutely cannot look through my house. And it was like,
Well, and there was another time that they were like, "Well, aren't you going to get the cadaver dogs or something?"
oh
Or
yeah, he said
and
he was like,
they're like, "We haven't even assumed she's dead yet. Why
yeah,
would
you're like, it's
we do
been
that?"
2 days. Like, what? We
Yeah,
have no
why?
reason to believe that she's dead.
Yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, he's something's off about him. And then like his story when he was like driving to Mexico and being followed by the cars, and like he was driving erratically and he was doing all the stuff, and his sister-in-law was like, well, he thought the paparazzi were following him and like he was trying to evade them, and he pulled over right away when it was the police. I'm like, well, yeah, of course he pulled over when he knew it was the police. Like that's what you do, but like why was he driving there in the first place? Like why
yeah,
is he being suspicious?
yeah. He's a suspicious little fucker, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
But
definitely think that he deserves to be in prison. Don't get me wrong, but
yeah.
I really think he put someone else up to actually killing her.
Yeah. And I hate the technicalities with like the reason that he might be getting the retrial, because I think they said one of the jurors was um connected in some way to Laci. And like it was like very vague. Like she knew about Laci from like they were in like the same pregnancy group or something. Like, but it wasn't even like they were friends. Like they were, it would have been like,
Why
oh, they
didn't
were
they
on
vet him
Facebook.
for that to begin with, though?
What?
They're supposed to vet him, like the
Well, they do vet him, but the woman didn't think to disclose it because it really was a non-issue, and it came out later. And like it was one of those things where like I'm in a Facebook group with you and like I've seen your post and I've liked your post, but if you went missing, I wouldn't even think like, oh, this is a person I'm in a Facebook group with because I don't look at people's name. Well, yeah, like I don't look at like random strangers' names enough to like associate those.
Yeah.
Um, so that was a
I
weird
couldn't
thing
tell
that,
you anyone that was in my pregnancy class with me. Like I
yeah,
mean, yeah.
yeah, you're like, no, I'm focusing on me and my baby. Like,
Wow.
I don't care about none of you. So yeah, so like he might get a retrial for that. And what was it? There was something else that was weird. He's
Those
just
big
like,
trials like that, they should pick people from a totally different state.
oh, that's what it was. I really felt bad for the family because it was such a publicized case, and because like if she was pregnant, if she wasn't pregnant, I honestly do not think this case would have been as big as it was. I think the only
I don't
reason
think
it
she
was
would have been
big,
murdered.
I disagree. There's okay, weirdly enough, a lot of people that are in unhappy marriages, which I feel like he was because he did have a mistress, find that killing your spouse is easier than divorce. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not even
No, I
joking.
get that, but I think that he was afraid that if he got a divorce, he's going to have child support and
Well, yeah, but that's what I mean. Like, it's one of those things where like people would rather murder their spouse than get a divorce and deal with like child support and spousal support and things like that.
yeah.
Um, but I felt really bad for um for the family because it was such a public case. Um, it was such a public case that like when they came out of the courtroom, people were like chanting that it was good that he was going to like be on death row and that he should get the death penalty. And I'm like, even if he murdered her, like that sucks to hear as like your family when you're walking out. And I was like to just hear people like chanting that they want a
And
person
to
that,
know that, like, if I was her parents, even, it would be like, I can't believe I was in support of her marrying this person who ended up killing her. You know,
yeah. I
like,
mean,
I can't
sometimes you don't
believe.
know. I feel like it said they were like high school sweethearts or something.
Yeah, I would have been like, how did I not know though that this? Of course, like I said, I'm one of those people who read people, so
Yeah.
I
I think yeah, I think you're probably right about like maybe they would have gotten a divorce if she hadn't been pregnant. Um, but I don't know, like it's such a weird thing that like they've been together for so long and like you never know and then it just they changed.
I mean, I think it was just that we've been together so long, and now she's pregnant. And like, when did she get pregnant? Was it after he started seeing the other person? No, they
No,
started seeing each other in
he started
November.
seeing her when like a few weeks earlier. And they said too, like one of the things they said, his parents were like, men cheat typically when women are pregnant. And I was like, that's so shitty that's just like
No, they
a
don't.
thing that you're just like justifying your son cheating because she's pregnant.
If
And I
my
hate
son
that
was
because I
cheating on his spouse, I'd beat his ass.
because I do know that is true. Like a lot of men do cheat on their spouses when their spouse is pregnant. And they're like, well, I'm not getting laid. And it's like, because she's carrying your fucking child and she's tired.
Yeah,
Like,
that's a piece of shit.
yeah.
That's just all there is to it. Like, either you're a piece of shit or you're not. And
Yeah. Like the entitlement there where he's like, well, my wife, won't give it to me, so I'm gonna go and get it from somebody else. And the craziest part too, Amber Fry, who was the woman that he cheated with, was a single mother. Like it wasn't like she was some kid that like was unattached and carefree. Like she was a
yeah,
single mother. So like he would have what divorced Laci and then gone and raised this other woman's kid who was very young as well, like 2 or 3, I think they said. It was like, what was your game plan?
he didn't have one. I don't think that he was planning to be with the Amber Fry or anything for a long time. I
Probably
think it
not.
was just someone to
How
sleep.
how shitty do you think the friend that set them up felt?
Yeah.
Like I had that happen.
I'm very impressed with the Amber girl, though. For as soon
Yeah,
as she realized it was him, she called the police.
she did. And she worked with him. She goes, I will record him. I will do this. I will
Yeah.
find out information. She did a press conference. She was like, listen,
Yeah.
I this happened. I didn't know, and I don't want my name in the press. And like, I'm cooperating with police and like
I
all
didn't
this
even
stuff.
know that he was married.
Yeah. That's what sucks too, is like some people are so like sneaky about like their marital status that you just like, you really have no idea. And especially if it only been a few weeks. I didn't like that they did the news reported his alibi. And I could see that as like, if he was being framed, like that absolutely could have had something to do with it. I still, though, at the end of the day, I still think that he did it. If not killed her himself, he definitely was the one that physically disposed of
I
her.
definitely think that he played a role in it. I just don't think that. I don't think that he actually killed her. I think that someone else did, and he put him up to it. And he's like, "Oh, I'm going to go fishing today,"
Yeah.
just so that he would have an alibi. Type thing.
Yeah. Because that's a very, it's, you can't really, I'm out on the lake. Somebody saw me go into the lake. It's not like I had a person
Yeah,
following me the whole time. Could have done whatever.
yeah,
Like they're very big.
but yeah, I liked it. It was good. Um, I'm kind of eager to see what happens with the retrial. I don't think he deserves a retrial, even though I don't think that he actually murdered her. I think that he deserves what he got, by all means. Um, but you never know.
Yeah, that's
Um,
true. I mean, it's been years. There could be new evidence, and it never hurts to look at stuff with fresh eyes.
yeah,
Um,
for sure.
and if somebody else did it, I would be very happy with them being in
Yeah,
jail, because
right.
that's one of those things. Like you always see those stories of like the people that are exonerated years later because of new evidence, and you're like, yeah, but
It was good. Good one.
so let us know what you guys think. If you think you did it, if you think somebody else did it, if you think just wandered off, who knows? Because that's the secret other option. She could have just walked away
I
and
thought
like,
they found her body.
oh, that's right. Yeah, no, they did. But like, she wandered off and then got herself murdered. Like nobody murdered her. She just went for a swim. Um, but yeah, so let us know what you think. And if you have suggestions for other things to watch, we are always interested.
Always. Thanks for
Bye.
listening. Bye.